Hey besties, so I did end up going live the following day after I made that last post. There were a few people who tuned in, asked questions, and got info about placement, the experience, the visa process, more importantly. And those who missed it, this is kind of like your overview recap. So I think I'm gonna do maybe like 2 or 3 videos because it was like, I have a lot to say. So just in this video, I'm gonna talk about like the first part, the visa process, and my initial first days moving there. And I think part 2, I'll talk about them not paying us for 4 months, which was ultimately like the biggest deciding factor of why I'm not renewing. Because that's like really fucking crazy. 4 months, rent, housing crisis, please be for real. Okay, so number 1, the visa process took me about a full year from application to having the visa in hand, which I feel like is extensive. So people who are interested should know that. And in America, you need to get a visa through a consulate's office, and there's maybe like 2 handfuls in the country. So if you don't live near to one, you have to fly to one. And then they've got like a huge packet of all these forms and notarized documents, FBI approval, all this kind of stuff that you have to submit to them, along with like handwritten applications, passport pictures, all of that. So the paperwork can be daunting. So a lot of people often look to a helping, supporting company and just pay them to either fill out the forms for them or guide them with the paperwork. So me, personally, I, didn't want to mess up because it's a long process, as you know. I don't want to take the risk of spending some money of applying and then not being accepted for filling out a paper wrong or missing a form or something like that. So I went with an organization whose name I won't say because I don't want no legal smoke. I think I paid maybe total like $1,500 to almost like guarantee my place in the program, applying to the Ministry of Education in Spain, like to make sure that I get in. They can't guarantee where you're placed, but at most they can give you like templates to help with the paperwork, and then just like step by step of how to fill it out, when to submit it, how long to wait, and it does give you peace of mind. What I mean to say here is that I don't think it's necessary to pay for this service because a lot of that information is available for free online. I moved to Spain, I met people who didn't have a helping program, and they were just fine. They just looked up how to fill it out online, so I just kind of feel like that could have been $1,500 in my pocket, but whatever, what's done is done. Now, I didn't always think that they were like it was a bad experience. I thought they were good up until I got there. They suggested that we don't buy plane tickets or flats in Spain until we have our visa in hand and have our boots on the ground in Spain. Now, I don't know if you noticed, but like you really need to be buying for international flights. You should be buying those like a few months in advance, or at the very least 6 weeks in advance. So they're, distributing visas maybe like 4 or 5 days prior to the program starting. I just think that like it's really expensive to do that. And the housing thing is understandable. They just don't want you to get scammed, because I actually did get scammed when I was looking for housing stuff. It's actually really common. So I understand that they say that you should wait. Just make sure that you have like temporary housing in the meantime, either like an Airbnb for maybe 2 or 3 weeks while you're looking, unless you have a guaranteed place that you're going to stay once you get there, like with a friend or in like some, I don't know, like shared housing or something like that. And then another question that people always had was, how much money should I bring? Like, how much money should I have in my account prior to coming? And like, if I run out of money, what is the case? Or if I don't have a place to stay, what do you guys suggest? They have 0 suggestions for you. They're just like, well, did you try perhaps asking your mom and dad for money? The fuck? Not everybody can do that. So I just felt like that there was very few safety blankets in place, and that was really like the tip of the iceberg, with having 0 support or very little support in that entire journey. And hindsight being 2020, I know that I'm a stronger person for it now. It's just in the moment, like it's really isolating and overwhelming, like you don't want to be going through all of these struggles and obstacles in a foreign country. So once my paperwork was in order and I had my placement ready, and I got a notification from the Miami consulate that my visa was ready, I took off to Miami, got my visa, and then shortly after bought my ticket to Spain. I had my sights on several apartments prior using a website called Idealista or Fotocasa, and I just knew that it was going to be a speedy process. Boy, was I wrong. I got an Airbnb for 10 days of me getting there so that I had enough time to look at apartments before deciding on them. And I thought it would be easy breezy because I figured that I'm an ideal candidate. I also have had a remote job. I still do have it, that allows me to earn more than 3 times the income, and also the income from teaching in Spain would be coming in soon after. And yeah, like I thought it would be easy, but it really wasn't. That 10 days turned into 20 days, turned into 40 days without housing very quickly. And so I was kind of getting hopeless. Most people that were having issues finding places to live, they could rely on people at the school that they were teaching at in order to find housing. Once I got to know the people at the school that I was teaching at a little bit more, there was only one English speaking person at the school, even though there was two English teachers. He suggested that I reach out to one of the old English teachers that might have a friend who's got a room from whatever. But it ended up working out that I was able to stay in a room, for like 300 euros for the entire month of, I think, like October or November. No, I think it was the whole month of November. I was able to freely stay in the room of her flat in like the downtown area, which was so kind of her. She didn't know me from a can of paint, but Valencian people are literally just naturally so helpful. It caught me by surprise. Like, I've never seen kindness like that without expecting something in return. So that was really refreshing. While I'm extremely, extremely grateful for the English teacher at the school that was like hosting me, I was grateful that he introduced me to that compañera of his that allowed me to stay in the room of her apartment. But I was more so worried and concerned as to why I'm not finding housing. I've been on countless housing tours. Like I said, I earned more than 3 times the rent. I've got all these types of, qualifications that make me the ideal person to rent to, at least based off of what they're saying. But then when they meet me in person, it's like their whole demeanor changes. Like, they look at me like I have 3 heads, like I got shit on my shirt. What did I do to you? The level of delusion, little Miss Delulu, that I am, I like to give people the benefit of the doubt unless they explicitly give me a reason not to. So I didn't want to assume the worst of anything. I started offering above asking price, and they're like into it. Then they see me, nothing. Like, not even money could make them budge. I made a Valencian friend that suggested to me, like, I think it might be based off of your race. Let me go check it out for you. So he went to go check it out for me. Suddenly, when can I get you the keys? I was like, okay, maybe it's a Spanish native thing. I send my white American friend to go check it out, and it ends in, how can I get you the keys? Like, do I offend? So one fateful day, I went on a viewing to a property that I wasn't super passionate about. It wasn't in the heart of the city. It wasn't near to the main train station that I needed to use to get to work because I was living like pretty far from my job. And it was a Cuban realtor. And when I told him I was Cuban too, like this, locked in, when can I get you the keys? Like, it was no further questions asked. I took maybe like a day or two maybe to look at one more other place just to see what my options were like. But I'm not looking to give horse in the mouth. You feel me? I am just so beyond grateful to him for taking a chance on me when nobody else would. And it truly made my experience chef's kiss. The rent was 750 euros and then utilities separate. So the 1,000 euro stipend didn't really go far after paying all my bills, but still I was young, turned, and housed.